All right, so I was on the product page for the custom installs pressure washer the other day, and I realized the video I have there is from like the original install, like 10 installs ago, 20 installs ago for me, and I guess technically for Mike. But that original pressure washer system, I had my plumber install it, and we've evolved and gotten much better looking setups with different colors and things like that. So I want to take you through from top to bottom. This system's a little more sophisticated, and we have a valving system for the boom pole that's outside, which you normally wouldn't have. But I wanted to kind of go through the parts and pieces of this now $3,000-ish system that can really change your washing experience. If you value car washing, whether it's in your garage or out front of your garage, this can really change the whole experience of having to get everything out and break it all down and put it away. Everything is here on your wall, ready to go, and this is very easily replicated. The heart and soul of this whole system is the Kranzle K1322. In real world, it does roughly 1.9 gallons per minute, but the vacuum specs that most pressure washers use coming right off the pump head, this is rated at 2.1 gallons per minute, 1300 PSI. So this is called the K1322TS. This is a pressure washer that exists. You can only get it from me at Obsessed Garage because they can't make them fast enough, and it's my freaking idea. I came up with this concept. This is, 3 years ago or so now. I flew to New York. The Kranzle family flew to New York. The representatives from the US flew to New York. We met at a hotel. I think it was the JW Marriott or something like that. We met there at the restaurant, and I proposed the idea that I would love to have what was the K1622. They didn't have a 1622 TS at the time, just a 1622 that didn't turn off, only did 1.6 gallons per minute. I wanted a pressure washer that looked like that performed like the K1122, which is the really popular cart model that I sort of put on the map. And I said, if you can do that, we could change the world, at least a small subsection of the world, very small subsection of the world. So they came out with it. This is, again, 1300 PSI with a focus on flow, not pressure, which is what we want. And so in real world testing, this is going to do somewhere in the 950 to 1000 PSI range with a specific size nozzle that I set up for you, a 4.0 size nozzle. It's going to do around 1000 PSI at around a gallon, 1.9, so slightly less than 2 gallons per minute, which is, I think, the best combination of pressure and flow for washing a car that you can achieve. We can get a little more flow from the AR Blue. I've had them both. I sell them both. The AR Blue is great. It's a lot less money than this. There are many cars. You can buy a Corvette that has a lot more horsepower. It goes a lot faster than a GT3. I choose a GT3. That's what this is. This is the Porsche 911. I think the AR is like the Corvette. It's the Corvette of pressure washers. Some people prefer Corvettes. I prefer German engineering pressure wash, over the Italian AR. And I did spend quite a bit of time with the AR in my last house, 2 houses ago, and it's just, the experience is not as good. So the pressure washer is sitting on an 18-inch shelf. These are shelves that I have made from a company in North Carolina. This is a T304 stainless. It's 18 by 8 inches deep, which obviously fits the pressure washer quite well. I would suggest when you mount it, we usually mount the shelves, the supports about 2.5 inches off the edge. I think it looks best. It allows us to tuck the hose reel up into the shelf a bit. When you're having when you're doing your install, you just want to kind of dry fit and test fit. You want about 1 inch between the handle and the support for the shelf. That way you don't smash or cut your finger on the edge of it. And so the pressure washer is mounted with, and we supply these if you buy the full package. We supply these anti-vibration clamps. So it's 2 stainless anti-vibration clamps with wing nuts. And so when you need to service this, which is very rare, by the way, if you wanted to service, you needed to service the machine, you just pop the quick disconnects off, you pop the 2 anti-vibration clamps off, and you lift the pressure washer off, and you're good to go. So really simple, really easy serviceability. you'll have to do that once every 3 or 4 years on this. I would do it at year 1, change the oil, and then you probably won't have to do it for several years, depending on how much you're washing. If you're a professional detailer and you're using this, I would change the oil at least once a year, maybe once every 6 months. And I would preventatively change the seals. We sell seal kits. I think they're like $100 or something like that. You'd want to change the seals. I would do it every year if you're using this thing all the time. The beauty of this pressure washer is it's completely serviceable and rebuildable. So from here, you want to put a outlet. We have all the dimensions on the page, all the dimensions. Chris, maybe you can put an annotation, pull that image up get it from our design folks of what dimensions we loosely use to set this up. Mike actually cut the drywall, put blocking in, so we had room to screw everything in because the shelf supports, the CR supports, the support for or how you mount the hose reel are all inside of 16 inches. So you can't just hit a stud, and you cannot obviously use drywall anchors on this 80-pound brick. I think this one's 60 pounds sitting on the shelf. But you need a 20 amp circuit when we're using the foam cannon and we use the proper 1.25 millimeter orifice. The pressure washer will draw about 17.5 amps. So it will trip the breaker on most 15 amp circuits. And so I think you want to dedicate it if you can get it, have your electrician come in, put an outlet in, and like I said, we'll share with you the dimensions of where we put it. Don't get too hung up. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, this doesn't have to be the exact dimensions. What Mike and I always do is on the fly, we kind of hold things up and hold things into position, and then make our determination on the spot depending on the situation, what the baseboards look like, or the water source is coming from. And so oftentimes we do slightly different dimensions on where our hose reel is mounted and things like that. So as we work our way down, Cox hose reel, this is a 100 series hose reel. Lots of people always ask, well, man, I want a retractable. I don't think you want retractable, because a retractable and a single, or this is a single wire. I don't have my PP plug here. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is a single wire hose, pretty pliable for a pressure washer hose. You can use a retractable hose reel, one with a spring load like we do with our air hose. But by the time you walk it back in, it's clunky. Air hose is much more pliable than pressure washer hose is. So I highly recommend, and we do in our systems, we do the Cox 100 series hand crank reel because it's more efficient and I can get this nice tight wrap on my hose. These come in black, silver, and blue. So this is the black version. These you'll see these are a lot more money on obsessgarage.com than they are on Amazon and things like that, because we have these custom spec'd. One, the color is spec'd custom, and two, we're putting a stainless swivel. So we're putting Cox's best stainless swivel on it. That adds a significant, I think $60 or $70 worth of expense to the hose reel, maybe more. And so these are, let's say, exclusive at Obsessed Garage, because you could custom order this from another dealer. But we actually buy these in quantity and stock them. We generally have them in stock. The gray is a nice finish as well. We've done those, but black, blue, gray, depending on what color you prefer. I think black is probably our most popular at this point. And then on the hose reel, this is we sell three hoses. The hose that I prefer is the OG Spec Gates hose. So this is a smooth jacket hose that we buy in bulk from Gates, and then we make them ourselves. My dad actually makes these at Curated Manufacturing, which is my building that is a couple miles north of OGHQ. And so the reason why I like this hose, the jacket is it tends to stay cleaner. It's a little more rubberized than the Cobra Jet from MTM, which is still a very nice hose. You can see the wire, so if you don't like that, so it doesn't look as smooth. But this is easier to clean up, tends to mark up a little bit less, and is more pliable. The Cobra Jet jacket is a little more durable. It's a little less rubberized, a little more plastic. There's a little more plastic in the jacket, and the Cobra Jet is also smoother than this. slightly less pliable, but we're splitting hairs at the pliability difference. And then there's also a gray Cobra Jet. The gray Cobra Jet is not a smooth jacket. It's not as pliable. People buy the gray just because they don't want the blue finish. That'd be the only reason. The Gates OG hose and the MTM Cobra Jet hose, the blue Cobra Jet, are much better hoses than the gray one. We do stock the gray because a lot of people like that color. Black, I don't think is a good option. Black will tend to mark up your floor, so I haven't had a smooth jacket black hose come across my desk that I like yet, so we don't have that. This system here, same thing up here. We're using all stainless fittings. The fittings, if you buy the OG spec package, are these T304 stainless Swiss-made Mosmatic fittings. Just this one piece here, I think is like $55 or something like that retail. So we're putting all the best fittings. These fittings tend to last a lot longer. There is an O-ring in here. We supply I think on these we still supply a extra O-ring. If you need O-rings, you can they're like a buck or something like that. You can buy them on obsessedgarage.com. But there's an O-ring in here. That's really the main replacement part. Keep in mind that this is a consumable. Your fittings, not so much the one on here because you won't be using it very much, but the fitting on here is a consumable, something depending on how much you use and how much you're disconnecting, even though it's $55. I think they have a 6-month warranty, but after that, if it breaks, you gotta buy new ones. It's kind of like buying tires for your car. BMW doesn't warranty your tires. From wear and tear, you've got to replace them. A pressure washer like this cannot support 2 guns going at once. The pressure will drop substantially and you won't have any output at all. But it can support 2 different systems if they're not operating at the same time with a simple addition of a 3-way valve. But normally our jumper hose would come directly out of our hose reel and go directly into our pressure washer. We also provide in our system, and this is a bit ridiculous, but this is a T316 super pliable stainless hose for our inlet section. So all of this is very simply detachable. So I could detach my pressure washer. You'd have some extra water flowing out. But I can take my wing nuts off, and we have a pretty modular system for doing service. The oil changes here. But these particular fittings here should last a lifetime. If for some reason you do develop a leak, it could be just O-ring, your O-ring's worn out, so you need to replace that. But again, consumable parts that are very easy to change and transition. Once you get this set up and you've taped and torqued, and you address any leaks, keep in mind water under pressure is very leak and air leak prone, so you have to fight for it a bit. It does take a little time to ensure that you don't have any leaks. This base system here, without this specific inlet hose, but the base system is what is probably most popular. Adding on the piping package and the deionizer adds a significant expense. So you're a couple of grand for hose reel, pressure washer, inlet hose, and then you could bring, a garden hose or have your plumber bring water directly in if you're skipping all of this sophisticated piping. So that is the base system of the custom install. An optional, you can add this as an option. You can add in your Mosmatic wand holder. And we sell these in various different options. We sell them in full solution where it only comes this way. We sell it in package form where you can buy just this package and exclude the piping package and the deionizer. But all the systems come with the OG spec Mosmatic solution. This is part of the reason why you've seen a price increase over the years. We didn't really increase the price of it. We just changed the parts. We eliminated the Chinese fittings because we figured if you're doing Kranzle, you're doing German engineered, high-end, high quality, we want all the best parts and pieces. We used to sell it as an option with like the cheaper MTM fittings and the cheaper MTM guns, and virtually no one was buying that. Everyone was buying the OG spec version. But this is the Obsessed Garage. This is mine and Jamie from Mosmatic USA's baby. This is our brainchild, where we have an integrated swivel. So this is a swiveling inlet, but the swivel is integrated into the handle. Jamie and I, convinced the Swiss to make these amazing Swiss-made fittings. This was our idea, and so this is a 1/4 inch inlet. And then this was Jamie's idea to take the nozzle and put the quick disconnect behind the nozzle like so. So you have interchangeable nozzles that you can use on either long gun, I call it, or short gun if you're doing your wheels. You also have the ability, the system comes with a foam cannon as well, so you have the ability to quickly hot swap over to your foam cannon like this. The package does not come with the quick disconnect. This is the quick disconnect for the foam cannon is a very expensive, very low production run. My friend Rusty, who arms helicopters, makes these for us. This specific quick disconnect is an option that you could buy separately. But the package would look like this, the base package. And then you have full swivel ability of our system. And then the holster ability, T304 stainless Mosmatic wand holder. I'm sure some companies make some cheap knockoff version of this, but I like the Mosmatic. The fit and finish of everything Mosmatic is, I think, worth the premium. Then if you wanted to add on, you could purchase this as the full solution, your CR Spotless. I'm actually working on a prototype solution that has considerably more capacity than CR. It's hard to beat the look of this setup. I just think this looks very, very attractive. I think, this to me shows you mean business in your garage, and you really value your clean cars, you value organization, and you value high quality components. But the CR Spotless is a roughly $400, $450 add-on. And then what I see a lot of people doing, these are actually airlines. This is Prevost piping from France. So I guess it's technically Prevost. But Prevost is how we say it here in the U.S. That's how the U.S. representatives, they suggest we call it Prevost. But these are airlines that we're using for water, and so all these fittings are air and watertight. And we have our valve system here to allow us to either turn on to run just regular tap water or turn off and direct the flow through the deionizer up to the pressure washer. The CR has a TDS meter on the front that tells you when to change your filters. Right now it's reading 0 parts per million. As long as it reads 0, then your filters your media is good. We do sell media as well, so we do sell the CR replacement resin. Again, something I'm working on developing. We're many months, if not a year out, so I wouldn't postpone too long. I would get the CR. We're likely going to make systems that allow us to hot swap or swap out the CR system for the OG solution if it does come to fruition. But adding on this, the piping package alone is like $600 or something like that, and another $430 or $450, or depending on when you're watching this. So you're adding $1,000 to this setup, which many people will opt not to do because if you have decent water or you're not going to use this, this is an extreme luxury add-on. Same thing with the $100 holster. These are add-ons that you could choose to purchase. So when you go to obsessedgarage.com, if you're on the product page now and you're looking at this, you could just buy the complete solution, which is everything you see here without this 3-way valve, because we have a boom pole outside. But the system is something that I dreamt up. Where this came about is, I think it was probably 2016. I left Merrill Lynch, went to Raymond James. I got a storage unit, like a little garage condo-ish thing with a little office. And there was a wall there next to the office. I said, this would be perfect to take the 1622 and turn, or take apart 1122, turn it on its side, put it on a shelf, put a hose reel there, and that's where this idea was born. And now, of course, you see this idea everywhere. I should have patented it. I don't know if I could. I should have. Should have patented the idea, and then I could have maintained control of it. But this is the standard. You could do whatever pressure washer you want on here. We do have solutions for AR, solutions for active, solutions for Comet. You could put a solution, you could put a $100 Karcher up here as well. So we do have those solutions on the site for you to check out if this is a little bit out of reach for you or something you're not willing to spend money on. So that's the OG custom install pressure washer solution. And really appreciate your support. You guys are the reason why I'm able to create this stuff. But available in the store, very rarely completely in stock. So I would highly suggest you RYS, reserve your spot, and that locks your place in line. Oftentimes the Kranzles or the hose reels or the CR or something is out of stock, and then the best way to do it is to put your money up, reserve your spot. That gets you to you quickest if we at the time didn't happen to have it in stock. So thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and yeah, this system is amazing. I think you'll really enjoy it if you were fortunate enough to get something like this.